Yes, thank you, brothers and sisters. I bring you greetings in the name of Yahweh, our Elohim, creator of heaven and earth, our Father, and from his Son, Yahushua HaMashiach. I want to appreciate every one of you also that's taking our time to watch my different teaching series on my different platforms, on my YouTube page, on my Facebook page, and on my TikTok page, and every other social media platform. I'm still Ika Benson Eddie. I appreciate those that are new. If you are new, take our time to watch my previous video. That being said, today I will be speaking on the origin of tithing. I'm going to do two topics. One will be the origin of tithing, and the other will be tithing explained. But I'm starting with the origin of tithing because when you don't know the origin of a thing, abused and misused may be the order of the day. So we are going to be treating this topic right now, the origin of tithing. If they say you have to tithe, they lied. Tithing was not a command, but part of a Mosaic law, a system to support the Levite, a system to support the temple, a system to support the poor in ancient Israel. No New Testament verse commanding believers to give 10%. What you find in this, is this, as stated in 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 7. Each one must give as he has decided in his heart, not under compulsion. The early assembly gave, but it was spirit-led, not forced or cajoled. They gave to the poor. They gave to each other. They gave to support gospel work, not for bigger buildings or budgets. First tithe appear in Genesis 14:20, when Avram, as we all know as Abram, gave Melchizedek a tithe of the spoil of war. The tithe was of the spoils of war. It was voluntarily from war plunder, not personal income, not company income, not from business profit. It was from war plunder given to a righteous priest, not a religious system. Later, in the Torah, Yahweh commanded the children of Yazareh, that's the children of Israel, to bring a tithe, 10% of their agricultural products and flocks, not their silver or wages. As we can see in Numbers 18, verse 21. This tithe supported the Levite, who has no land, and was also used to care for widows, to care for orphans, to care for strangers, to care for fatherless children. It was a covenant provision, not a financial tax. So when was tithing corrupted? After the destruction of the temple, especially under the Roman Catholic Church, tithing transformed By the 6th to 8th centuries, it became a state-enforced tax. People were forced to give 10% of their income to support churches and clergy. It was no longer covenantal. It was not a product of covenant anymore, but it became an enforced tax. It was no longer agricultural. It became a legal obligation. This first system was adopted by most modern denominations, even though the Levitical priesthood no longer functions. The temple no longer exists. Yahushua now functions as our high priest under a new priesthood. Hebrews chapter 7. Let's talk about the modern misuse. Most pastors and most leaders, church leaders, quote Malachi chapter 3, verses 8 to 10, to shame people into tithing. Will a man rob God? Will a man rob Allahim? Bring all the tithe into the storehouse. But this was spoken to the corrupt priests of Israel, not to the new covenant believers. To understand that verse of scripture, you will start from Malachi chapter 2, verse 1. O ye priests, this commandment is for you. So it was actually for the priests. There is no commandment in the Renewed Testament requiring believers to tithe money to a church. Instead, Yahushua and the early believer taught freely you have received, freely give. Matthew chapter 10, verse 8. What we should do. You are not under the Levitical tithe. You are called to steward what Yahweh entrusts to you and give in alignment with the Spirit. Under the covenant of Yahushua, giving is voluntary, giving is joyful, led by the Ruach, which is the Spirit, used to build the kingdom, not the building. Used to build the kingdom of Yahweh, not the kingdom of man, not the kingdom of religious system, not the kingdom of man, but the kingdom of Yahweh. Each one give as he is able, not under pressure or fear. 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 7. So give to the poor, give to the widows, give to the strangers, give to those doing the work of truth and covenant teaching for Yahweh. Tithing was never meant to fund pulpits or programs. It was a sacred act of provision for those Yahweh has appointed and for the least among us. We give because we walk in covenant. We give because we walk in covenant, not compulsion, not shaming people with that verse of scripture, Malachi chapter 3, 8 to 10, when in actual sense, that entire prophet Malachi was actually speaking to the Levites who were misusing the tithe. And it started from Malachi chapter 2, verse 1, straight down into Malachi 3, before he now got to that 8 to 10. The entire commandment was for the Levites. Pastors should not use that verse of scripture to shame people into giving 10% of their income. What was commanded, even in the Levitical priesthood, which is no more, because we are now in a new priesthood of the Melchizedek order. We were commanded, we were obligated to give. Giving is taught in the New Testament church. Giving with a willing heart. You give with a willing heart, not under compulsion. Watch out for my video on Tithing Explained to get a